All right, if you have questions for Darian, go ahead and raise your hand. Nick Roush.
Has this senior year coming back, and has it played out to what you expected? Just how would you kind of grade your decision to return?
I think it was probably one of the best decisions I made. With everything with COVID and everything, and mandating injections and stuff like that, it was kind of a smart decision to let that all settle down with the worldwide stuff, and come back and knowing I was going to have another season. And on top of that, just being able to get as much of my degree as possible before leaving. I think it was the best decision I made so far. Just another great decision coming in and finishing the senior year and playing with my boys. And I think it's playing out pretty well so far. I wish we could have pulled another win or two out here and there, but other than that, I feel like it's probably the best decision personally too.
What do you think you've done personally that you've probably, how have you improved now from where you maybe were a year?
I think a lot of it has to do with like a pass game, just mentality too, in terms of wanting to come out here and practice. Some days I'd come out here last year and kind of just go through the motions, not really have energy, especially later in the season like this when I'm all beat up. It's just kind of learning to, practice like a professional. Just coming out here with the right mentality, even if you don't have any energy, I guess kind of fake it till you make it, and it kind of rubs off on people and brings people up. So that's kind of what I'm dealing with. It's kind of what I'm doing personally to improve. And on top of that, just like game scheme wise, I think the new OC definitely was going to help me, and I think it's been helping me so far.
Josh Moore.
Darian, when you're a guy like in your position where you had that chance to maybe go and you probably would have gotten drafted in April, but to come back, and I mean, obviously, yeah, I think it's worked out for you in a lot of ways. But what goes through your head? What are kind of the things you have to weigh? And for there'll be some guys on this team that have to kind of go through a similar decision making process at the end of the year. What would your advice to them be?
Everything's going to be kind of feeling like it's going to be coming at you fast. Biggest thing is just take a deep breath, talk it out, pray about it. Really just, I guess envelop yourself in the situation and really just break it down piece by piece, take all the pros versus all the cons of going, take all the pros and all the cons versus staying, and then just weigh it out and see what the best decision for you ultimately is.
Hagan.
You talk, about, staying versus going. I'm sure a lot of that takes some forward thought. What are you thinking about when it comes to your future?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
I guess primarily, what are your thoughts, on your future going forward? I'm sure you had to do a lot of forward thinking when you decided to stay. What are your current thoughts about your future?
Next game, everything. When it comes to, seeing where you're going to get drafted, what team you're going to go to, it's all up to, whoever wants to take you. So right now my mentality is just focusing on the next game. I've been a big day-by-day person, one obstacle at a time kind of guy. So I'm just going to keep coming in every day, practicing, next game, next opponent. And then, eventually that time will arrive when I start, I'm in the future, I guess I could say. But right now it's just, worrying about the next opponent, being with the guys I'm with right now, just worrying about doing the best I can.
And then also just talking about your mentality, you go through so much physically, mentally, what kind of support is the team, has your family been through this whole season?
Really it's just been a close circle with my moms, my grandma, and my great grandma. My biggest support is definitely my mother. Just definitely talking to her, having a heart to heart about it, and making sure everything's. I guess every decision has been talked about. Every possibility has been weighed, especially with her. I wouldn't be in this position without her, most definitely. And I don't think I'd be the type of person I am right now without her definitely making and having big decisions in my life. So definitely talking with her is a big part of that.
Thank you.
Lonnie,
Darren, this past week you had a new starter in there beside you, and I know you probably practiced. You've had mixed bags and whatever throughout practice and what have you throughout the fall practice and now. But having him in there beside you, talk about his performance and how you all clicked together Saturday.
Austin's one of those guys who's just a road grader. I love the guy he is. I love the man he is. His mentality for the game and being especially an offensive guard in the SEC is amazing. So when we get in there, we just kind of click automatically. We kind of have that similar. I'm gonna run through a person's face, and I definitely love that mentality. So when we're in there, we like to bully guys, and I think it just having that off the field chemistry also definitely helps. But he's a great guy, a great competitor, and he's definitely a bully when he's in there. So I love it.
Jeff Drummond.
Darian, you touched on this earlier, but I'm wondering what is it like for an offensive lineman, kind of mentally and physically, to go through that grind of practice every week when you're, in mid-November?
There's a big upside, and that's weather cools off a little bit. So a lot of big boys like that. I think when we get to later, late in the season, and our bodies are all beat up and we're tired, it's really just about, grinding it out. Like, why do we really do this? And why do we love the game? And it's just always a constant reminder to go out there with that mentality of why do I do this? And what makes me happiest. I couldn't imagine myself going a day without at least being around football. So I know, and, right now it might seem like a struggle to want to keep going, but I know in 4 or 5 years, God willing, if I didn't go to the NFL, I know I'd be missing it. So biggest thing is just having that mentality of going out there and, taking it day by day, and just thanking God that I have the ability to do this. And a lot of people don't, especially with John passing, he was the biggest inspiration to a lot of us linemen. We can't really complain anymore, especially after having him. You can't really complain about being sore or beat up. Because it's always just a constant reminder in the back of your head, like, hey man, somebody's been through a lot more than you and still came out here. So
I'm sorry, as a quick follow-up, your ultimate goal, and you just mentioned it, being in the NFL and playing at that level, you may have to play 17, 20 games at that point. Is there something like when you were talking about fighting through some of that stuff this season that you want to show those guys your durability, and ability to fight through that stuff?
I think one of the bigger highlights of, being able to fight through stuff like that was probably LSU. I went down and out for a little bit, with a knee injury, and I got an X-ray and stuff like that. I had fluid drawn off, but I had a bone bruise, played through it, and God willing, I was able to come back the next week for Georgia and then had that bye week. So, I think that's one of the biggest things also on top of, playing, I guess, injured is having that big part of you saying I love this game enough to put my body on the line for it. So I think that's one of the biggest things I showed, especially for that LSU game.
All right, Darian, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And that'll wrap us up, folks. Have a good night.
Appreciate it, guys.